Alright, check, 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 check. See where everybody's at? Check, check, check. No. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. 1, 2, check, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Alright, are we there?
There.
Whew. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Are we there? I'm going to turn the other mic off of Eli's, so hold on just a second. Okay, how's that? Everybody with me? Audio, video, everything good to go? Whew. Okay.
Tell
me how it is. Visual okay? Audio okay? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. Is it still an echo? Okay. I turned Eli's mic off. We see you, so visual is a go. Yes, you are good, but a bit of an echo. Okay, hold on. This is important, so hang with me. All right. Okay, that should be the only microphone open right now. How's that? Is that better? We okay? Sounds good. All right, echo's going. Whew. Okay. I need a drink. Now, here's what has happened. The original intention of tonight was to be in the house. And I had everything set up, had cameras up, Streamlabs in the house. Audio was good, everything ran through a test really, really well. One small problem. When we went to go live, our little Mac downstairs couldn't handle it, so I had to fly out here to the shop, set everything back up, and then only do it for one person and to get it here. And you know, we're using the lapel mic, not the headset mic, so lots of things going on. I'm not going to know who's in here, or as far as chats, I will see that, and I will see pretty much everything, but any kind of donations or anything like that, I won't see that. I won't see if I'm in frame. I mean, is my head chopped off? I don't know. I didn't get the board filled in. And this goes to show you that the best laid plans of mice and men oft go awry, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say hi to everybody. Doug P. Echo is gone. Wayne Heights. Bobby at Dogbone, Cindy Brown, Kyle Jones, Henry Leslie Vermont, Bobby at Robert Lonis, Corey Shire, High Desert Forge and Ironworks, Daniel Baca and Dana Maggiore, did Baca Maker and DE Mag. I think I've got a few others in here. Hopefully everybody kind of start coming in. I don't want to go too awful late with this because I know some other people have got, hey Kelly at Old Wolf, I've got live streams tonight. We had a very specific reason for tonight's stream. And tonight's stream, and I apologize, camera's here, chat's up there, and I want to keep an eye on things. I do love Boston, yeah, it's still back there. Mountain Home Forge, good to have you in here as well. And hey Raquel, good to see you, dear heart. This goes to show Satan is pretty good at his job. Hey Tech at Techronomatic and Titanium Tank 166, good to see you. If you have a name, let us know. I'll be glad to call you out by name. Matthew, good to see you as well. I think Matthew at Aimless was here a little bit ago. So tonight's live stream was supposed to be, and still will be, very pointed, very specific as to the intent of this evening. And I wanted it to be a more intimate feel, and unfortunately I got to come out here to the shop, but the shop is intimate enough. It's a good place to be, and I enjoy being out here. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes just to be out here. Hey Gary Graham, Kevin at Trail Dust. So tonight, first of all, I wanted to start with thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Drew Wilson, good to have you in here. You know, we have had such a blessing over this past year. Eli is right now probably on his way to Bowling Green, Kentucky, to see his sister in one of her ceremonies for graduation. She's getting her master's degree, and I'll be leaving in the morning for her robing ceremony and actual graduation. Thanks, Kyle. So I wanted to take this time. We've been talking about for some time doing a kind of my story and a little bit of some people might call it testimony. It doesn't have to be that. But I wanted to do that, and I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that God has blessed me with, and some trials, challenges that I've gone through. And there's Susie Jacobson, Robert Whitney, great to have you guys in here. Rutger or Martin, okay, I'll try to remember that. All right. And so I do want to just tell you, we had such an amazing time with the gathering. For those of you who were not here, man, what a blessing it was, and we just really want you guys to consider next year. We are going to do it next year, and then recently I just got back from, there's Bill Wheel. I just recently got back from Virginia Beach, helping we finally got it kind of cat out of the bag. Anson Ivy over at Ivy's Family Factotum, easy for me to say. And I hustled out there to Virginia Beach and hooked onto their camper, and brought it back here. And then I think Memorial Day weekend is probably the plan that I'll be leaving from here to take it out to Arkansas, take the camper out to Arkansas. While I'm out there, I'm going to try to catch up with some other YouTubers and friends, and part of the family, as they say, and catch up with them and enjoy some time with them briefly. And I'll be leaving probably on a Thursday and coming back on Saturday. So it'll be a quick turnaround to get out to Arkansas and back and still see folks. So anyway, we've got a lot going on. I've been trying to get to where we can get out in the fields. A few guys around here have gotten some planting done and things like that. None of that has gone on here. I've got a few pieces of equipment to repair before that happens, but even right now it's raining, and we've had 1-2 decent days, and it's just not enough. The ground is warming up, so it's doing better. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm going to have a little video, probably will do a video. Our straw bale potatoes are up. Just about all of them are up and doing pretty good. So that's definitely pretty good news. And we got peas coming up. We got a few things else going on. So I'm so blessed. You know, I got a phone call from a couple of you guys over the past couple of days. We did have some storm damage to one of our barns. everything's fine. You know, we're insured. Everything is taken care of. But it is frustrating, you know, when you're trying to get stuff done and it just seems that the pile gets a little bigger all the time. So here's what I want to do with this evening. I am going to kind of share with you my story, a bit of my life, and I want you guys to, you know, think of some comments, questions, anything that you'd like to ask me. It doesn't even have to be just about what I'm going to talk about this evening. You guys can ask any question of me you want. I'm an open book. So, you know, think about all those things. Think about what you would like to consider asking. So, and this is really, again, I'll say it's part of the challenges in life, but also the great blessings that God has bestowed upon me over the years. And I say I'm stupid blessed. I couldn't possibly be blessed more than, and I imagine how much I could be blessed more than I am right now. So I want to share with you, again, I want this to be very clear that this is not a, oh poor Troy. This is not anything like that. I have no boxers or briefs. Boxer briefs. So there you go. I have no idea or thought of sympathy towards myself or any kind of grief towards myself. I have been made to this point, and so this is the blessing of where we are right now. So I'm going to share that with you. I don't want this to be you know, poor Troy or anything like that. I want to make that extremely clear. So here we go. Right from the beginning, neither one, Josh, but if I have to, if I'm going to have a moon pie, it's going to be RC. So there you go. And if I miss your questions, stick with me. I'll get to them and throw them up there again if you have to. But from the very beginning, and I hate to make it sound like that. So here we go. When I was born, I had some difficulties being born. The umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck. I need to just stop for a second. So the umbilical cord was wrapped around my neck, and it caused me to have some issues. And one of those issues was kind of a oxygen deprivation and some other issues as well from birth. And so I had a little bit of a rough start to get going. They kept me in the old incubators for a little while, and thought everything was fine. And so the first 4 or 5 years of my life was okay, kind of a normal little baby. Hello, George Anderson, good to see you. But anyway, along the line, it was I think it was about February of 1978. Bad winter, and I was really feeling pretty sick. And so Mom and Dad took me to the local doctor, and local doctor says, the pediatrician, she says, I don't know. Send him to Children's Hospital in Cincinnati. And before I go any further, let me just tell you, the folks at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati over the last 45 years or so have just done an amazing thing for me. So when we went to Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, we a billion tests went over and over and over and over again, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And finally, one doctor, the name of Dr. Crow, now keep that in mind, Dr. Crow, came in, pulled my mom and dad aside, and I'm like 5 years old, and I remember pulling him out of the room. And when he pulled him out of the room, he kind of got real serious, and he says, I'm sorry to tell you, your son has juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, among a few other things. And rheumatoid arthritis in a child, especially at that age, is generally crippling. It is rare for a child to come out of their teenage years and not be crippled. So he told my mom and dad, he says, I'm sorry, but he probably won't even be walking by age 17. And so my mom, so those of you who have met Mamaw, Mom's about 5'1" or so, and she stuck her little finger up, and Dr. Crow was pretty tall, stuck her finger up there and told Dr. Crow, "You don't know who you're dealing with." And doctor said, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm sure this young man's a fighter, and he's strong, blah 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 blah." And even at 5 years old, them out in the hall, I understood the demeanor changed. Mom said, "No, you don't understand who you're dealing with." And I knew even then, my mom and my dad knew that it was God had it under control. Hey, Kat, good to see you in here. Good to have you back online. So Mom and Dad very quickly indicated to the doctor, "Okay, look, we accept whatever it is, whatever the outcome may be. So if at 17 he's in a wheelchair, which is what they anticipated, if at 17 he's in a wheelchair, that's to God's glory. If at 17 he's on, say, crutches or kind of hobbled a little bit, all glory to God." But they said, "We don't believe either one of those things to be the future for this young man." And so they basically just laid me at God's feet and said, "He's yours." Now, that wasn't the end of it. In 1978, the treatment for anybody having arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis specifically, was aspirin. For those of you who were around during that time, if you had any rheumatoid diseases or any connective tissue diseases, the answer was aspirin. And then Tylenol came along, and that was kind of a help as well. But aspirin was the answer. And so at 5 years old, they're pumping a 5-year-old who weighed like 30 pounds with about 1,000 milligrams of aspirin a day. Basically because the inflammation levels were, for those of you who know, things like titer counts, the rheumatoid factor, the ANA and all that kind of fun stuff. Everything was literally off the charts. And when I say off the charts, I don't mean figurative. I mean literally, my SED rate was uncalculable on their chart. The titer count was off the chart. So they just kept pumping aspirin to me. Well, for the next 4 years, I just ate aspirin. And I probably never got above 40 pounds, 35, 40 pounds. And I was a little dude anyway. And then about 3rd or 4th grade, and with some other issues going along, about 3rd or 4th grade, I got just horribly, horribly sick, vomiting all day long, all night long. Couldn't keep food down. I mean, it was bad. Here's the crazy part. In the meantime, I led a fairly normal life. I played Little League Baseball. I did, I was helping here on the farm, but there's more to that. So I got really, really sick, vomiting horribly, couldn't keep anything down, losing weight, losing hair, and so back we went. And it was a pretty normal thing for us. We were spending weeks at a time at Children's Hospital, and over the years I spent birthdays and Christmases and other holidays and other times in the hospital. So I think I'm about 4th grade, and they take me in, and the thing that they finally tested and found out is I had what's called Rice syndrome. And the syndrome is basically a deterioration of the liver. And right, Susie, I mean, it had chewed my liver to pieces, and I'd already had stomach damage as a result. And then the aspirin also had some issue causing on my kidneys. But by this time, they had switched me over to one of the newer medicines, Telectin at the time, Tolometin. Telectin was one of the brand newest of the anti-inflammatories, and it was doing much better for me, and I was able to take care of it. Rise syndrome, when they did a biopsy, and again, 8 years old, and they stick this needle in my side, go in there and pull out a chunk of my liver and do a biopsy, and they just basically said it looked like somebody drug my liver behind a car down the interstate. And so it wasn't good. I mean, I was kind of deep end of that, and as a result, it also, I think it was one of the hepatitis, I don't know which one it was, that kind of added on to it. So essentially my liver was thought to be ruined, and on multiple occasions it was kind of iffy whether I was going to pull through. So Rise syndrome happened. I was in the hospital. That was about 4th grade, and so they got me through all that. And a doctor by the name of Dr. Renabaum came in after Dr. Crow, and just an amazing guy. And soon thereafter, we thought, okay, we've really hit the jackpot here with Dr. Renabaum, and he just did such amazing work for us. And then we found out he was leaving. Shortly after he left, I got really, really sick again. And there was multiple times where I would have to go to the doctor or go stay in the hospital and things like that. Hey Jeff Killian, how are you, buddy? So about 7th grade, the next major one that popped up was a spinal meningitis, and there was a couple other things that went with that. Now, in the meantime, we get to add in, you guys are going to love all these, we got to add in a disease called Kawasaki's disease. It's another connective tissue and internal organ disease. We got to add in toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis means basically your blood, or at least the plasma in your blood, is toxic to your body. So toxoplasmosis, you know, there's histoplasmosis and all those kinds of other ones. This is toxoplasmosis. So the plasma in the blood was poisonous to myself. So, you know, we got the hepatitis and the toxoplasmosis and the Rise syndrome. And about 7th grade, I got the spinal meningitis and a couple other things. And the type I got was starting to work up into my brain, and it was really starting to cause some serious harm to me. There's Thomas Goodymoot, and I think Joe Campbell, Jeff Killian. I didn't say I had Ben Toombs. Hi, Ben. And so anyway, again, another hospital stay. Things were really, really bad. And again, it was one of those instances where we weren't sure. My mom shares the story of we were headed to town one day, and I just asked my mom, I said, Mom, am I going to die before I get to high school? Essentially is what I think I asked her. And she didn't know. She didn't know what to say. And either way, it was just like, okay, whatever it is, I'm cool with it. Let's just, you know, get on with it. And so that was about 7th grade, and got through that, and then working through that, we worked up to about 8th grade, and we were sitting around the table at Frisch's with my grandparents, and my grandpa looked at my brother, or my sister, who was the oldest. He said, what are you going to do when you get out of school, high school? She said, well, I'm going to Morehead State, I'm going to be a teacher, blah, blah, blah. Looked at my brother, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to Morehead State, I'm going to be a teacher. That's what everybody in our family did. They went to Morehead State University, and they became teachers. And he looked at me, hey, John Athol, good to see you, man. He looked at me and he said, Troy, you need to be a preacher. Well, that was my pap. That was pap. You know, World War II veteran, Marine Corps veteran. He was pap. He was pap. So he just looked at me and said, you need to be a preacher. And I just, okay, well, that was pap saying it. So I said, yes, sir. That was the end of it. And I never really pursued much of anything else from that point on. I'm going to say quickly to 1958 David Meems and Cormulus. Good to have you guys in here as well. So that was the only thing I pursued from then on out. Now I take that slightly back because I'll fill in just a little bit later. So after 8th grade, go into high school. Freshman year seemed to be pretty good. But I made a decision after 7th grade, after the spinal meningitis thing, I made a decision. My decision was no more medicine. None. I'm not going to take any more medicine. If I have an arthritis flare or any of these other kind of flares, I'll treat it as it comes. And so I did. And I basically took myself off all medicine. And I just decided I'm going to move. I'm just going to keep moving. You see, I grew up with Little League Baseball and playing sports and being active and fishing and all that other stuff. And I felt better when I could move. Now, there were days that I literally could not get myself out of the bed. I was bedbound. And the challenge for everybody else was knowing that the very next day I could be out running and jumping and doing all kinds of stuff. And I'll tell you here in just a minute, David Memes, keep hold of that question and I'll get to it, okay? So I took up track in 7th and 8th grade. And it doesn't sound like something that makes sense for somebody who has rheumatoid arthritis. But as I said, there'd be days where I didn't feel like I had anything wrong with me, and then there were days I literally couldn't get myself out of the bed. And I started noticing that I could run. I could run pretty fast. So high school hits, and I jump on the high school track team, and I start winning, and I start doing well, and things are pretty good. And so, most valuable player freshman year, sophomore year, same thing. And then, okay, we thought things were going really, really well. And I'd going about 3 years without anything. And my junior year, night of homecoming, I came out of the ball game and got in my truck. And I was like, got out of the truck. I had started getting migraines following meningitis and debilitating migraines. So I felt like I was having a migraine. Of course, I'd been playing sousaphone in the pep band, playing tuba in the pep band. I played a basketball game that night for the high school team. And I got in my truck and I was like, man, I don't feel right. And I didn't even get out of the parking lot. I passed out, hit one of the telephone poles in the parking lot. But I woke up enough to see one of my buddies' vehicles, and I was kind of aware enough to recognize them. Everybody else was pretty much gone, and I somehow followed them back to his house. And it turns out I had, for lack of better terms, a stroke. In the process, that is where I contracted Bell's palsy, so my left side of my face was paralyzed. But we didn't know that. Just a bunch of other stuff happened at that point. And so I was back in the hospital, and they're trying to find out what in the world happened. And that was probably the first time that it was really, really serious as to whether I was going to live or not. So they sent me home. You are homebound. You cannot go outside. Your activity is bed, bathroom, eat, and rest. And that was every 3 months. 3 months I never left the house, somewhere around there. And I think it was about April, first part of April, I finally got to get out of the house. And first thing I wanted to do was run. I wanted to run track. Prior to getting up to that, I was running. I was training so hard. One of my goals was to break the school record at the high school in the 200 meters or the 100 meters and 400 meters. And so I was training really hard. So I was in pretty good shape before all this happened. In 3 months of no activity, I thought, man, I'm going to be junk. There's just no... Oh, you talking about the rain on our roof? Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. But anyway, so 2 weeks after I was let out, I got to run in my first meet, and I won. And it was so uplifting. And so then the rest of the season, I just kept progressing. And in that next year, going into my senior year, things were looking really good. And I did end up breaking the school record in the 200 meters. Went to an invitational and broke 3 other records there, but I'm not bragging about that. But here's what I did. I qualified for the state in the 200 meter dash, state track meet. And, excuse me, it was in the 100 meter. I didn't qualify in the 200 because I false started. First time I ever false started. But anyway, so I qualify. And so there was a newspaper clipping in our local newspaper. And so what I did, you guys will love this, I took the newspaper clipping and had the date, I'm trying to think of the date on it, had the date of what had happened, and wrote on that newspaper clipping my birthday, April 3rd, 1973, and then I wrote February 25th, 1978, and that date is the date Dr. Crow said I wouldn't be walking by the time I was 17. And it was like 2 weeks after my 18th birthday, I broke the school record and qualified for the state track meet in the 200-meter dash, or 100-meter dash. And I just wrote those dates on the top of that. So you see, Dr. Crow got to eat crow, his words. And here's the deal, guys. This is what I'm trying to tell you is from February 25th, 1978, all the way up to today, I haven't made a step. I have firmly believed, and it is my faith, that God makes every step for me each and every day. That's really cool, Robert. He takes care of that, man. I don't make a step for myself each and every day, and I got to trust God for that. And so that's part of the blessing. Now, and so you're saying, great, he turned 18, everything's cool. And we really did think that, and for a very long time it was. And then Michelle and I got married in 2008, and then in 2009, on my birthday, I got up. Obviously I've had some digestive issues as a result, and I got up one night. Man, I'm really feeling it right here. So I got up, went to the bathroom, and I remember the last thing I saw was the pill bottle to take for my stomach, and that's the last thing I remember. So, and then Michelle wakes me up, and I'm laying on the floor, cracked my head on the tile and on the thing behind me, and it's what ended up happening. Long story short, I was in AFib. They picked me up. They took me to the hospital. They gave me the whole cardiac routine. After they gave me the second dose of nitro, I said, I think I'm going to be sick. They set me up, and it was like somebody poured gasoline on my head and lit me on fire. It was just an amazing feeling. I blacked out. Next thing I know, again, long story short, I heard the flatline. I was flatlined for 47 seconds, and they brought me back. And then I went to the hospital, and they had to do the whole cardioversion where they stop your heart and jump you back. And just, I was dead. And then from then on out, I've had a few other issues. I had a tumor in my hand, and this and that and the other thing. But most of them are really, I hate to say trivial from that point up. So there's the deal. In the process, what that does is it allows me to talk about how great God has been to me, and what He's blessed me with. Now, I'll answer a couple questions. I know Mr. David Memes, a couple of your questions were about the Anvil. The Anvil is a Peter Wright. It's 202 pound. I'll get a little. It's quiet because we have it mounted in a 3-foot deep base on railroad ties, and it's got silicone underneath it, and it's clamped down. So this is all you're going to get. That's it. 202 pounds, and that's the extent of the noise you're going to hear out of it. Her name is Hazel. I'll introduce you to Hazel, and she's a beaut. We really are blessed to have her here in the shop. Kyle knows the story behind the lemon cake. That's a whole other story, and we'll get into that another time. But here's the deal, guys. I just, in the process of knowing all this and going through all this, I just continue to see God's blessings. Now, there are still days that that I don't want to say I can't get out of bed, but it's really, really difficult to get out of bed. It's really difficult to do the things that I need to do here on the farm or in the forge. And there are days when it's exhaustion and following a flare up, and then you back it up with usually a debilitating migraine and things like that. you could always forge with me, buddy. You can always forge with me. Get in touch with me, man. I'm cool. I'm good with hanging out with anybody. Did I have an out-of-body experience? That's a good question. So that's kind of the story in a nutshell. And in the process, you know, I've had kids and grandsons, 2 grandsons, and this is the farm that I grew up on, and we've been here for 120 years as a family, and it's already been extended for the next 2 generations past me. And it's covered for that. We're taken care of as far as that goes. So I'm blessed to be here. Now the question, did I have an out-of-body experience? No. Here's what I experienced when I was gone. What I experienced while I was gone was, for lack of a better terms, peace. There was nothing more peaceful that I've ever felt in my entire life. Now, I will tell you funny, Daniel Baca, or Corey that asked that. This is so funny. Later, Henry, you take care, brother. If you need anything, let me know. So anyway, while I'm out, just total peace, and then all of a sudden I hear a voice, and the voice is a little something like this: Troy. Troy. And one more time, Troy. And I heard that 3 times. And I recognized the voice, and then I thought, okay, I forgot to take out the trash. There's something I forgot to pick up. There's something I need to fix. And I realized it was my wife's voice, and she was laying into me in my ear to tell me to come back to life. And then I heard the paddles charging. He's charged to whatever it was, and I was like, the only thing I could think of to say was, what? And I heard her say, he's okay. And that was it. He put the paddles back down, thank goodness. But yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing. But no out-of-body experience or anything like that. I would have to agree with you, Joe. Very much so. But yeah, that was my experience with that. She was right in my ear, and I thought, man, I've screwed up something. And I said, what? He's okay. But I wasn't. I was still an AFib. They had to go do the cardioversion and everything. So with that being said, it is now 7:21, and I want to offer up to you guys just some questions and things you have for me, some discussion, anything I can pray for you about. Yes, it would have been shocking for sure. And then I got the shocking like the next day because they did the cardioversion. They actually stop your heart and start it again. They put this great big pad like this big across your chest and one on your back. And she told me, she said, now we're going to sedate you, and then we'll do the procedure. Now, I don't remember him saying we're going to stop your heart. I don't remember him saying that. And so I said, oh, okay. And she said, now look at the clock and watch the little hand. I said, okay, well, how sedated is sedate? That's all I remember. And then I remember the little nurse, she said, now, Troy, you okay? You did a good job. You did a good... I said, well, so did you. She said, now, you made a big noise and you jumped up off the bed. I said, well, I'll tell you what. We'll switch positions. You get down on the bed here, and I'll hook up the paddles to you, and we'll shock you and see who makes noise and jumps off the bed, right? All right, George, take care. Again, keep in touch with us. Let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Just get in touch with me, David Memes, anytime. You texted me earlier for prayer. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I will do that. Guys, be in prayer for Ev's, Dana Maggiori's, his brother-in-law. Things are not good there, and we need to pray for he and his bride and for his brother-in-law. Not good at all. So if you don't mind, take time to pray for them and reach out to them. Dana's right there. If you guys want to send him an email, if you have his phone number, reach out to him and pray for him. Of course, Jeff Killian says he had been there, done that, and his wife, Corey says his wife had to do that. Wow. Drew, I'll tell you what, man. There have been a lot of people in my life who have just absolutely. It was really interesting. In that senior year, I was running the 400 meters, and while I was doing that, and the 400 was kind of my premier event. I had already also applied to 2 other D1 schools who were going to offer me a track scholarship and an engineering scholarship. And I thought, okay, well, I'll try that. I'm kind of interested in that. And then I damaged my hamstring, not my hamstring, but hip muscle and tendon to the point where I wasn't Division I level sprinter. And I always felt like it was God. I know God doesn't work this way. I always felt like it was God's kind of way, just kind of flicking me and going, "Hey, stupid, you were supposed to go to Bible college and become a minister, so go do that." Yeah, and this my minister growing up used to say, "Keep on keeping on," and that kind of stuff just really keeps me pushing, man. Prayers for housing for Josh, trying to find a house to rent where your congregation is. God has a place, that's for sure. Yeah. Don't pray for patience, man, because you'll get it. Do I have classic cars? No, but I have. My favorite that I had a 49 Chevy pickup truck, 3100 with straight 6 Blue Flame 235. And it looked like Sanford & Son, but it was just the coolest truck. And I wish I had it back. I had a 1970 Nova, a couple other cars, but man, that old truck was just such a neat truck, and I've always wanted to do one again. What I'd really like to have is an old 40s and 50s COE, cab over engine, and throw a big diesel smoker on it and make her a heavy duty. But yeah, no, I don't have classic cars right now, but I wish I did. It's kind of crazy though. I do have. We just kind of obtained a beater car. It's not really that much of a beater. It's a decent car. It's an old Buick Century. It's a 2002 Buick Century. And I think, 2002? That's not that old. And I think, that's 20 years old. Did the Nova actually go? Dude, that Nova, whoo! That Nova was hot now, I'm telling you what. 350 high performance, 4-speed Muncie, 411 rear end. Da-da-dang. Yeah. I think it had glass packs. It was a hot car. And it could scoot. But, so anyway, that man, I've just been so blessed as the the blessings that God has given me as a result of all that. Has really prepared me for a lot. When I went into ministry, one of the things you do in ministry is you visit people who are sick. And if you stay around in ministry long enough, this year is 30 years in ministry for me. I've been in the ministry for 30 years. And you stay around it long enough, you're going to literally watch people take their last breath with family around and sometimes with nobody around. And the beauty of it is I can go into a hospital room, ICU or just in observation, and none of the sights and sounds affect me at all. Because of my time in the hospital and all the things I've been through, I don't I don't have to look at the buzzers and the beepers and the monitors and all that kind of stuff. It allows me to just be there with the loved one and be there with the person I'm there to be with. And when death comes, to be strong for those around and gentle with them and love on them. And I think it's a direct result of being in those situations on multiple occasions. And the other thing, as I was in the hospital for so many times, there were just little hints where I would just go, oh, man, why is this happening to me and what's going on? And you get that little bit of woe is me going on, and then I would get a roommate. And the roommate was always seemed to be that kid who was in the bubble, in the oxygen bubble, or was in a horrible, horrible condition. And I'm thinking about when I can get out and go to my next Little League baseball game. And then I have to tell myself to shut up and grow up and get over it. And so there's always somebody that seems to be a little worse. Always somebody that seemed to be hurting a little more. And God blessed me with something. And I don't, again, I don't want this to come across arrogant. God blessed me with an ability to handle pain. And it's not a brag. It's not so, well, I can take more pain than you can. It's just God granted me that ability to accept it, or at least take it on. And I used to pray in my hospital bed for the kid next to me, you know, God, give me some of that. Give me some of their pain, so it'll make them feel a little better. And I don't know if he ever did or not, but you know, it was one of those things where I wanted everybody else not to hurt, and the people I was around not to hurt. And that was always my prayer, for them to not have to deal with so much pain. And you know, even though every day I've got pain, you know, I still don't take medicine for my arthritis and lupus. You know, I've had multiple diagnoses of lupus, and I don't take medicine for that anymore. When I have a flare, I try to rest as much as I possibly can, and I take, you know, whatever Tylenol or whatever it is to help kind of just ease it just a little bit. So, you know, it's just part of life now. And here's what I do. You know, in my teens, I ran track and all that kind of stuff. In my 20s, I decided I wanted to do some 5Ks and maybe some triathlons, so I did that as a celebration of what God can do. When I turned 30, just after I turned 30, I started working at the YMCA, and I was working out 6 and 7 days a week. And I was probably in the best shape of my life when I was 31, 32 years old. So I did some 5Ks and some triathlons. And that was kind of, again, my celebration for what God can do. So when I hit 40, after 3 knee surgeries, a hip surgery, and a back surgery, I said, okay, probably not any more 5Ks and triathlons and things like that. But I was here at the church, and a bunch of guys like to go out and do hiking, backpacking, camping, stuff like that. So we planned a trip down to the Smoky Mountains to do the Appalachian Trail through the Smoky Mountains, which is about 70 miles. And if anybody's ever been on the Appalachian Trail, it's a rough 72 miles. It's not easy. So we backpacked, full backpack, all the way through the Smoky Mountains, and man, what a celebration it was when everybody got to the top of Clingman's Dome and we got to the end. They were all kind of like, "Oh, this is cool," and I'm like, "No, you don't understand. I'm not even supposed to be walking, and I'm at the top of Tennessee at this point, you know." And I walked there. I climbed there. So I celebrated, man. I was just having a ball being up there and just celebrating for God. So we're trying to figure out. We've been to Maine, climbed Mount Katahdin, and paddled about 70 some miles on the Penobscot River. So we're trying to figure out what next year I'll turn 50. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do to celebrate God's provision, and I'm excited about that. I don't know what we'll do, but we'll figure it out. And I got a great system around me that's just so supportive. And you know, did I say hi to Jeff Woodring? Hey, buddy. I know I'm looking down this list and I see people who go through day-to-day trials worse than I've possibly ever thought about going through, with such grace and dignity and just I know this is a bad word to say in today's day and time, with such masculinity, with such manhood, and such grace as a woman. Just come to Maine and eat lobster. Maine may be a part of that 50-year celebration, so I don't know. But man, you guys are so amazing, you know, and I don't want to name names because, you know, point out somebody, and I've met some of you guys, and you guys have blessed me and through here on the chats and everything like that. So yeah, you guys are welcome again to ask questions, but I wanted to share that with you, and I've been wanting to share that with you for a very long time. Oh, Mount Washington and New Hampshire. Here's a funny story with that. So Michelle and I took a trip up to the North New England states, and we got to New Hampshire, and my intent was to climb Mount Washington. And at the top, I would just have Michelle meet me at the top, and then we would drive back down. And then I watched some videos on the drive up to the top of Mount Washington, and I realized my wife is not going to do that. So we drove to the top of Mount Washington, and I drove back down. That was just not happening. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of a funny story. I really wanted to do that. I would like to, what do they call it, high pointing? I'd like to high point on as many of the 50 states as I possibly can to go to the highest point in each state. We've got several of them down so far. That would be a really cool thing. Yeah, take care, Kelly. Love you, brother. I really mean that. 4'1", chew on that. Oh, brother. Ben, you're a special dude, man. You are a special dude, and we love you. So anyway, yeah, I mean, feel free to ask questions, comments, whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. The book is kind of open, and I haven't really kind of planned past that. How I got to blacksmithing, that's a story that's actually on the YouTube channel that we've got here, my origin story, so to speak, and I've talked about that on multiple occasions. So unless you really want me to, I'm not going to rehash that. But this building right here has been such a blessing for me. Michelle and I were in here after the gathering. We were just literally sitting in our rocking lawn chairs thinking, what in the world are we doing in here? We were just hanging out in the blacksmith shop, which used to be a pig barn, and you couldn't even sit in here 3 years ago. I mean, literally, where I'm at right now, I would literally be covered up with just stuff that had been accumulating for years. I just noticed something. I wonder if Eli... I just looked up on top of the forge press, and I just saw that. I don't know anything about that. Unless somebody left it here and I didn't pay attention. Yeah, I just saw that anvil sitting there. Oh, the Deutz tractor. Okay. The new Deutz tractor, we call it the new one. It's a 7110, is quite possibly one of my favorite tractors I've ever owned. My 106 is a really cool tractor. That's my baby. I love that tractor. But yeah, there's a hill or two in Idaho. I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to. One of my goals actually is to go to Idaho and paddle on the salmon. I really want to paddle. That's one of my life goals. So I want to go to Glacier National. I want to paddle on the salmon. And there was one other one, I think, like Grand Tetons or something like that. It is working out for me, man, and it's working out for you. You know, I know you can share the blessings too, even in the amidst the challenges. No, I'm not pushing keyboard buttons. So, yeah, man, oh man. Yeah, wasn't there? I don't remember seeing it, so I don't know why it's there or how it got there. But I'm guessing Eli probably obtained it somewhere along the line, and kind of cool little anvil. So, Eric says, "Come on out, man. I'd love to. You left your anvils too close together, and they procreated. Yeah, either that or they shrunk or something. I don't know what happened. But that's cool little dude there. Yes, sir. I am blessed. Yes, you are, Ben. I appreciate you, brother. Really do. Can't wait for the day when we can meet. I'd say Mount Whitney in Cali, but that kills people. It has, certainly. I'm not real sure about that one. But anyway, yeah. I would love to check some of those out, man. Love to come check some of those out. Any questions? Any comments? Get you out here in the west and ride the Durango to Silverton Railroad. That would be fun. High Point, Indiana. Actually, I think we're close to 1,257 feet right now. Oh, that's right, near Richmond. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're right now like 1,100 feet, sitting right here. So he was going ear to ear, grinning ear to ear when he bought that tractor. That is true, Wayne. I was very excited when I got that. The rim of the Grand Canyon, yeah, that would be really cool. Go to Idaho. I'm 30-minute drive from CDA. Oh, okay. Later, Gary. Take care. It wants to be a Peterite when it grows up. That's good, Tech. But anyway, yeah, I mean, we've got tons of stuff coming up. I've pretty much got all the chickens under control and taking care of them, so everything's good there. Did the kids really just walk right past you when you had your stroke and leave you there? Well, yes and no. I mean, we all just got out and jumped in our vehicles and took off, and it wasn't but like 10, 15 seconds. And I didn't even realize it, and everybody was gone by then. Everybody just kind of takes off. And then I just realized my buddy was just getting ready to leave. So yeah, no, I don't think anybody just kind of abandoned me. They didn't know I had a stroke. I was in my truck, so they had no idea. The high point in Minnesota. It'd be good to look that up, guys. Look that up on Google. What's the high point in every state? See if maybe you're not too far from doing some of that. How's the Reconstruction wrought iron anvil, Troy? You talking about the old Sheffield anvil that got the horn knocked off? If you are, I'm not touching it. That's exactly how it's going to stay because it's got a story with it, and I'm not messing with it. Yeah, Missouri, yeah. What are my plans later in life? More blacksmith or what? That's a good question. I talked to Michelle about this not too long ago. You know, and I know what you guys are going to say. I'm near 50. Oh, you're just a pup. Cool, fine. Say I'm just a pup. But you know, I'm technically about a dozen years from retirement if I want to. I probably will never retire from farming. Farming will just be until I literally can't do it anymore. It's just what we do as a family. It's what my dad did, my great-grandpa did. It's what we just do. That plus, and I'll answer that in a second too. That's a good question, Joe. What I really wanted to do, to be honest with you, I said, you know what? If I had the finances, here's what I'd really like to do. I would like to just go help people. You know, I just got back from starting to help Anson and his family, and I've done a couple other things where I go help. Man, I wish I could just go do that. Just load up the truck and the trailer, tools, whatever is needed, and just go help people. That's what I really would just love to do. And I love to travel. I'd love to go around and meet people and be around people, and I really like to do that. I think I've got an opportunity this fall, September, to go on a mission trip to Guatemala and be a part of a school, a blacksmithing school, and do some evangelism and stuff like that with a Forged in Fire winner. Real good guy. Love this dude. But anyway, then Michelle said, nope, you can't do that because you have a congregation that loves you and you love them. Then I saw the question up here. I think hopefully that answers the question. What do I plan to do? What I really just love to do as well is I would love to just be the guy sitting in his shop. I like doing green woodworking, so I'd like to be the guy who just, you know, whittles out some kind of carving or makes something on a shave horse or you know, whatever. Come into the blacksmith shop and tinker around in here. So yeah, that's what I really wanted to do and would really love to do in my retirement. It's just hang out in the shop and help people and do things like that. Blacksmithing part of my rehab or recovery? No. And I do think it's very therapeutic. I was in 2 times I've been in different people's shops, and again, I hope this doesn't come off as a boast. When I was in talking to Hans, working with Hans, he said, "You're one of the most relaxed smiths I've ever seen smith." And I was like, it's because I enjoy it. It's relaxing to me to do this. And when I was up to see Roy, same thing. He said, "Man, you're relaxed when you're doing this." And I said, "I am. This is a very relaxing thing for me." Mentally, this is a relaxing yet challenging mentally for me and physically as well. It was not part of my rehab, and I've never really done rehab other than maybe after a surgery with shoulder or knee or whatever. But it's man, I wish, that's the only thing I say. I wish I would have found blacksmithing earlier to be able to have the opportunity to do it. I wish I'd had the opportunity to do it. I've been watching blacksmithing since I was a little kid, and I just now got the opportunity to do it. So I'm trying to get to the point where, tool-wise and shop-wise, where I can do this for a very long time and hold on to blacksmithing. You know, I want to be the old guy that's just still blacksmithing when I'm really old. No, not the shiny new one. It was the old air compressor in the red barn that got hit. Need to mow. No, I got to mow mine too. All right, Thomas Goodymoot. I didn't get a chance to thank you for your great advice for the build-up. Oh, well, you're welcome, buddy. And got some other. Send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. Is that to me, Athol, John? Get in contact with me. If you guys want to get in contact with me, please. And again, my phone, that's one of the things I want to tell you. My phone number is on our site. I mean, it's on our website. It's on, should be on Facebook. It should be on our YouTube. You can call me day or night for any reason. Now, if you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and tell me your goldfish died, we're going to talk in the morning, and it may not be kind, and then we'll get to the nice stuff. But yeah, call me for any reason, anytime, day or night, and yeah, we will share and we'll talk. If there's anything you need, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Yeah, Yankees broke the horns off them, and I think that's it right there. And we're pretty sure that one came out of the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. So, yeah. Yeah. That's cool, Joe. It just started at age 60. That's fantastic, man. I love it. Have I checked out Stinnett Sticks? No, I haven't. Would you send me a link to him? I would really love that. I love green woodworking, man. Making shavings, a pile of shavings around you from green woodworking is such a relaxing, cool, satisfying experience, man. Jeff Killian, take care, man. Oh, it says I need to get off road fuel. Yeah, I put 50 or 75 bucks in my truck today, and it got me half a tank. Yeah. Yeah, please send me his link. I would really love to see that. I was really attached to the goldfish. I don't care. I do not care. I'm really sorry about that, but I don't care. That's funny. One of the things that I had to tell you guys is the peace that I found doing this, and also I have found a community in the blacksmithing and homesteading community that just is nearly rivaled any other community I've ever been a part of. You know, I grew up in church and going to church, and I've been a part of some great churches, and this community is just absolutely amazing. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Hazel's your daughter's hamster's name. That's funny. I laughed when you said it. Yeah, and hey, I didn't name Hazel. You guys named Hazel. Because we did a survey, and I can't even think of the other one's name. Hazel, and I don't know what it was. But anyway, you guys come up with Hazel, so that's how she got her name. And we are in pursuit. Now, guys, listen. I am in pursuit of a large Olga-ish anvil. The reason why we built this base the way we built it is so that we could put a big anvil on this base and not have any issue with it. So, eyeballs and ears, man. I've got a couple of them out there. I've got some thoughts on ones, and I want to do that this year. That's one of our goals for this year, is to get the big anvil brought in. Some of us are a pain in the butt. Well, I don't know who that would be, but I could maybe come up with a few, and Wayne, you ain't one of them. I'll just tell you that right now. But yeah, you know, guys, things are rough all around, and it's good to have a community. Yeah, it's a real thing. You know, it just kind of hit me a little bit. I walked up to Anson at his place to pick up his camper. I'd never met Anson before, and we'd only talked on the phone. We texted a lot. Only talked on the phone once or twice, and it was a no-brainer, man. I mean, I walked up across his yard and just threw a big hug on him, and all right, where's your camper so I can hook it up and drag it across the country? It's just, that's the community. It just is what it is, man, and I absolutely love it. It's been Gertrude. Yeah, I've got a couple. Did Mule Kick come in? Hey, Ed. I've got a couple that I really like. There's the Bavarian. I want a double horn, and I know everybody's going to talk about this, so we'll get her going here. A double horn, and I like the Bavarian pattern. You might recognize him. Joey Vandersteeg does some. It has the breast on the front of it. It kind of slopes that way. Really cool piece. I love those. And then the Belgian pattern has some really cool anvils. Double pattern. Sent the link to Michelle. Thank you very much. The Belgian one I really like because it kind of is squattier. Still has the same width and everything, but the center of the mass is really down low. And I mean, man, you could do some serious hardcore work on that. And so I'm really kind of attracted to that. So I haven't come up with any Belgian names yet, so I don't know what that would be. Bavarians, yeah, I come up with that. I mean, Bavarian, Rausch. Yeah. And in case you're not sure, Bar Run, origin on us, by the way, Bar Run Forge is named after Bar Run Farm. My grandmother was a Rausch. My great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather who bought the property were Charles and David Barr. Charles, my great-great-grandfather, David, my great-grandfather. And they were Bars, B-A-R-R. And the creek that runs back this way is called Bar Run. Bar Run. So the farm was named Bar Run Farm. So when we got ready to name the forge and the company, we decided on Bar Run Forge. So pretty much everything we do is Bar Run, whatever it is. Mom used to have a catering business, and the people would come to the house and eat at the house. She would cater to that. And it was called Bar Run Catering. So yeah, really kind of cool. Mr. Brittinghammer, you're the guy I want to talk to. I have potatoes up. Potatoes. The straw bale potatoes are doing good, man. And funny part is, I was looking in the compost pile, and in the compost pile coming out of it was about 10 potato plants. So I got potatoes in the compost pile. I got potatoes coming out of the straw bales out here. So we got potatoes coming. 300-pound double horn in New Hampshire. Oh, buddy. Now, I would like to have John Switzer's current anvil. Yeah, and I was in contact with Fontanini, Steve Fontanini, not too long ago. So that one may be an option for us, is the Fontanini. Man, it's a gorgeous anvil. Beautiful. But one of the things I also want to say to you guys is thank you. You guys have made coming in here on Thursday nights, coming in here on the weekends when Eli and I are busy and tired and things are going on and things are crazy. Thursday night is a respite for us. And you know, we may come in here and things are kind of crazy and hectic or whatever, but this brings us back down. This has really been an absolute blessing to us to be able to come in on Thursday nights. I sincerely apologize for tonight. I thought I had everything set for being in the house and being around, just sitting in my chair and talking with you guys. Again, if you guys have questions or comments or things you want to know about me, this is your opportunity while I'm looking. Fingers one. Hey, those church windows look nice. Those anvils are beautiful. Yeah, Holland, again, there's the debate on the Holland and the ductile iron and things like that. Holland's, it's a nice looking anvil. It's beautiful. They've got a 440 and it's reasonable, I mean, considering reasonably priced. But yeah, it's just an absolute honor and a blessing to be able to do this. And we're waiting to pester you during the next 4th Street, so you're holding all your questions back. So while I'm doing something, you know, I believe that out of you, Daniel. I believe that out of you, for sure. Any other personal questions? I mean, anything, like I said, I'm an open book. Very much so. I used to tell my kids in youth ministry, I said, I can answer any question. There's not a question I can't answer. Now, I may be wrong, or my answer may be, I don't know, but I can answer any question. Make an anvil at the next gathering? Whoo, doggies. I don't know about that. We were already talking about what we're going to do at the next one and some things like that. Those of you guys who have went to the gathering or came to the gathering, please, oh, I know, lemon cake. I'll tell you that one. For those of you who were at the gathering, or those of you guys who would like to come to the gathering, give us some suggestions as to things that kind of tweak and improvise and change a little bit. You can send that through text or email or whatever. Lemon cake. So the night that I was talking about, that I went into AFib and died, my wife, I was coming home, it was my birthday. The next day was my birthday. And we just got back from almost Wisconsin buying dairy cows. And she said, I want to make you your favorite birthday thing and meal. So one of the things I really like is lemon. I like lemon pie, lemon cake, stuff like that. And then I'll answer your question about peanut butter here in just a second. So she makes me, man, this meal was phenomenal. And the last piece was lemon cake. And it was great. It was really good. But it just so happened, wink, wink, that 2 hours after I ate Michelle's lemon cake, that I died. So we avoid the lemon cake at this point, especially if Michelle makes it. But it's kind of a running joke around the family is lemon cake. We just don't, we still eat it. It's just a funny thing. But yeah, I always say, oh, no, don't eat the lemon cake. We got to watch it. All right, so the other question was, I've gotten over my love for peanut butter yet? No. I am not over that. And there were some peanut butter no-bake cookies left here after the gathering. And my doctor said, hey, you can have, you can try it. You're not allergic to it. Now, I mean, that's a blessing. She said you're not allergic to it. In other words, you're not going to die from this. So she said, you may give it a shot and try peanut butter first. So I said, okay. So I waited till after the gathering, and one evening I grabbed one of the peanut butter no-bake cookies because I absolutely love no-bake cookies, and I love even more peanut butter no-bake cookies. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate that. So I had one peanut butter no-bake, and it kind of made me a little sick. So I think the peanut thing is all no good, man. Thank you, Dana. Dana is just an absolute blessing. You've been here from the beginning. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. I just have 9-1 dial first. Did Hazel have a little one? Yeah, she may birthed one there a little bit there, so can't see the TV. But yeah, I have not gotten over the peanut butter love yet because I still love peanut butter and I still want to grab anything peanut butter, but I just can't. I'm not going to be able to. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. So we have to look for options. Good thing is there are other things that I like, but they're not peanut butter. That's hilarious. Burn no-bake cookies. Oh, your wife has celiacs. Oh, that stinks. Man, I don't know what gluten is, but it tastes good. It is good. They need to put it back into other stuff because it's pretty good stuff. And I feel for people who can't have it. Definitely. So yeah, again, any questions or anything you wanna bring up? Blacksmithing stuff. I am no authority, and I want to make that very, very clear. The majority of the things you see us making here at Bar Run Forge, a vast majority of our Tuesday tool videos are our first attempt at making those tools because we were very, hey Lynette, you caught us for a live stream, girl. Good to see you. We're actually very intentional about that. It's not something like, well, we're not planning. We are very intentional about that because we want people to see my learning journey and Eli's learning journey through blacksmithing. So the majority of our Tuesday tool videos and what we do here are not tutorial in nature. They are journey in nature. They are you guys seeing us discover blacksmithing. And that's intentional. Our approach has been that from the beginning is we want it to be a discovery, a journey. You know, as we get tools, as we get things here, it is just an amazing thing. Your trip in September is the same time as Quad State. I know. I may miss Quad State this year, but I don't get a chance to go to Guatemala a lot. So I may have to miss Quad State. I'm not sure. One of my dream projects, Thomas Goody Moot says, what's one of your dream projects, whether it be blacksmithing, a car building, something that's, what's one of your dream projects? One of my dream projects, as far as blacksmithing goes, I've got several of those that I really want to do, but mostly it's skill. There's not a whole lot of specific projects that I want to make as a blacksmith. The main thing for me is to create a space. My major dream is to have a shop and a space where people can come and I'll answer that in a second, Mountain Home Forge, where people can come and enjoy the craft, where I can come and just enjoy life and enjoy the craft. No, I'm not going to say sword. You can forget that. So, you know, the wood shop is the next thing. It's really just transform this building and this place into an absolute haven for makers and craftsmen and things like that. So I don't have any major projects as that goes. I really would love to do a few things. There's certainly a list of things that I would like to do. And as skill set grows and knowledge grows, I'm sure the perfect scroll. I would like, first thing first, I would like to do a scroll that Roy Adams does not turn his nose up at or make fun of me for. I would like to do a scroll that he does not sneer at. No, I'm just kidding. I hope he's lurking. I love you, dude. Yeah. Going to Guatemala, I'm so looking forward to it. You know, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have. Quad State will be around next year. And again, we'll try to get together as many people as possible. What was the other question? Somebody asked me another question about Eli's house. I'll tell you about that in a second. Now, project-wise, something I would love to do as a project and love to have is that truck I was telling you about. I would love to be able to get a crew cab COE like 1940s and 50s. Wait a minute, somebody said something about my favorite book of the Bible. I'll get to that too. I'd love to have a COE with the Duramax, Allison, and then like tool crazy. You know, I've got this vision in my head where I've seen the guys have the hydraulic hookups where there's a hydraulic tank kind of tucked in the frame, an air compressor tucked in the frame, and then like the pull-out truck beds, things like that, you know, where you flop it down. It's kind of disguised, where you don't know that there's a big toolbox that you can just pull out with the gooseneck ball in it. This thing, Japanese black cherry red. It's my favorite color on an old truck like that, on old vehicles like that. Japanese black cherry red. And yeah, just a big old hog of a truck, man. I just love, that would be my ultimate project in that, guys. And there's some antique tractors that I would love to have and have restored and things like that. So yeah, that would be really, really cool as far as a project goes. My favorite book of the Bible is the book of James. The book of James is my favorite book of the Bible, and here's the reason why. I'm inherently stupid. I am, as a general rule, stupid, so I need things in plain. And James is as straightforward a writer as there ever was, and man, oh man. Say my name. I say your name. I was bragging on you, and also, like, yeah, anyway. You were probably lurking anyway. You heard it all. Jerk. No. Love you, buddy. I do. I love Roy. Yeah, very much so. So I would, yeah, that's the thing. You know, tractors, that specific truck, the shop, and beyond that, yeah, the scroll that Roy would actually approve of. You know, I lay awake at night thinking of how I can make a scroll that Roy would approve of. Navieno 12. I hope I said that right. Hi there. Book of the Bible is James. Again, I'm inherently stupid, so I need it in plain English. James is the best at that, very much so. James is absolutely amazing, and it's very straightforward. Things like, he that knows the good he ought to do and doesn't do it sins. You know, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Just the idea that Satan will run away from me scared when God is on my side. It's just an amazing thought. And James, go read the book of James. Not the flux. Nobody even said anything about flux. See you, Drew. Take care, brother. Get in touch with me sometime, man. Definitely. So yeah, and Eli's house. Eli's house, it has not been delivered. It's completed. It's done as far as the structure is concerned. So it's ready to be delivered. We got started trenching. I've got the water line hooked up to where the source is coming from. We have to jump in the electric, and we've already hooked into the sewer, so the sewer part's done. The water's hooked up. It just needs to be trenched over to where the house is going, and then the power needs to be brought over there. So fairly close, and he's got to order some more gravel so we can lay out the pad a little bit better. First batch is already settled in. Good thing about the rains and crushed gravel is it packs it in nice and tight. So that's really good. So Eli's house is going to be here soon. And no, I didn't attempt to scroll again. Telling you. It's a good thing I love you. So that's pretty much where things are at there. I talked about some of my goals or big projects I would like to do. You know, every time a couple buddies of mine come by, they're like, "Hey, would you like this piece of steel or whatever this piece of metal is, and what would you do with it?" And I don't know. We give it a shot. We didn't just, yeah. No, we actually, turns out we didn't have a tornado. We had some straight line winds that blew out some siding on the side of the building. We've probably got a welder and a compressor and some other tools that are ruined out of the process, and the barn will need some serious repair. What's my stance on predestination? Man, here's what I know. All right, I wasn't throwing flux around. Now stop. You're going to get me in trouble. Here's what I do know. Is that I don't know. Predestination. I know that we have a God who is at all times omnipresent, omniscient. He's all-knowing. He's all everything, all at the same time. All at the same time. Oh, that would be really cool, Wayne. If I could find a way to get them. So to say that we are predestined, do I believe that there's a select few who are already the only ones that are going to get into heaven? You know, the 144,000 thing, 12 out of 12. No, I don't. I've not seen any biblical evidence. Again, I'm inherently stupid, so I rely on scriptures as much as possible. So I don't believe, is God all-knowing, so he kind of knows ahead of time, but also gives us free will. And how does he do that? Well, he's God. So if I try to figure that out, I'm going to come up short. And if I try to verbalize it, I'm going to come up short. If I buy plane tickets to New York for next year, then I have a predestination. That's funny. Oh, man. So that's my opinion on that. I think, and I'm definitely not the person who says, well, I'm predestined, so I do whatever I want to do because I'm already predestined to go to heaven. But at the same time, God knows my heart, and he knows, he gives me free will, and he knows my heart. He probably knows what I'm going to do, and yet he still gives me free will. So that's kind of my stance on predestination, is to that certain extent. Biblical predestination is not as we humanly understand the word and concept. I agree, Joe. I think that's the kind of thing that we have this idea that predestined means it's all set in stone, it's done, and there's nothing we can do about it. And until we see, and that's how I view the 144,000 is 12 out of 12, 12s and the tribes and the things like that. So, you do those calculations and you come up with out of the tribes of the Jews. So that's my take on that, for whatever it's worth. And there are people who are probably a lot more smart than I am. More smart? Well, that's evidence right there if they say more smart. You better change your ways. Shouldn't we all? We should all probably change our ways a bit, right? But yeah, that's my take on it. Free will, simple. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And we're held accountable for our decisions. So, and I always told my kids, every decision has a lifelong consequence. If you don't believe that, next time you put your shoes on, tell me which one you put on first. Chances are you probably put the same one on first about every time, or you do it randomly every time. Somewhere along the line you made a decision consciously or unconsciously to do that thing. If you put your pants on right leg first, or you jump in from off the bed because you got them standing up in some stupid stirrup or something like that, then that's your decision. That's what you've done. No, John, it's cool, man. I like it. I'm not afraid to answer questions about that, and biblical questions, as best I know, because I know that I don't know them all. As again, I can say I don't know. I'm not afraid of that, but that's still my answer. Technically, I guess that's probably close to accurate. Maybe predestined to go to work soon. Tex, so good to have you, man. God bless you, brother. I appreciate you so much. You're a special, special guy. So again, you'll catch about everything here on Bar Run Forge. Tonight was a non-forging stream, and if I may just be completely upfront and honest with you, it worked out really good because I had a bad day physically. I just wasn't doing real well, so it was kind of good that I didn't have a scheduled forging day. More scrolls are the secret to getting to heaven. Flux. Oh man, if more scrolls are the secret to getting to heaven, I better I hope they grade on a curve, because I hope a B- or a C is okay. Even if I get to a C, who knows. But anything else? I mean, you guys, again, you have the floor. You have me at your mercy. Well, I'm glad. Yeah. Feel like back at the gathering. I'll tell you what, Bobby Lonis, you and Kyle and everybody else who came really made it a beautiful experience. Now Roy's, he's passing judgment. Everybody pass that around. Roy's very judgmental. He's passing judgment on everybody else. He said people who aren't doing scrolls are going to hell. Hey Bear. I saw Hey Bear yesterday. He was running across the field. That's really funny. We got our skunk named Hey Bear. Our toes will be warm. There you go. There you go. Scroll, curve. I see what you did there. Oh, you know, it's one of them things. Did we get the bacon at 7 o'clock? Did we get our top of the hour bacon? I didn't know if we did that or not. But what time is it? It's 8:14, and I'm here for you guys. Whatever if you have more questions, more comments, things you want to know about me, things you want to ask of each other, have at it. No, I didn't take a shot at him. Damascus knife makers at the end of the line. I want to say I agree with you, but oh man, that's hilarious. But this alone. It's time for a bacon sandwich. That's right. Yeah, think about this, and you've got it exactly right. Not too many people will run screaming and yelling into the ER tonight or any other time, and go running into the ER and just say, "Hey, I just wanted to let everybody know I'm doing fine. Here's $75. I'll see you next time." They don't do that. And I'll bring this up. This is kind of a tirade here. I'm aware that a lot of people don't. Jeff, that's a good question. I have, but we made this channel kind of open to know that we want to use the channel for a ministry as well. So this channel will be a multiple of things. We do have, let you guys know, we do have Tuesday night Bible studies virtually. It's through Facebook Messenger. It's an open forum. You can use the camera or you can just use a microphone. It's an open forum, and I teach through. We're just finishing up the book of Hosea, and it's through our church page, but it's something that I run, and you guys are always invited to that. Anybody wants to come in and be a part of our Bible studies, please, by all means, contact me. I'll try to send you a link or direct you to it. But yeah, I think, I've had this thought over the years that I don't think many people have a whole lot of problems with God. And I think the majority of the problems, hey, Kyle from Dark 30, I think the majority of the problems most people have with the church are with people and with bad experiences with people. I don't think it's a matter of people having a hard time with Jesus. The idea or faith in God or faith in Jesus is, I think it's a lack of faith in people, and I get it. I am not immune to the idea or immune to the experience of people failing. But here's what I do know. We live in a flawed, failing world in flawed, failing bodies. I'm a flawed, failing person. And I stand up in the pulpit every week, if not more than one time a week. And I stand and sit here with you guys, and I offer up scripture to you guys. I take it very seriously. It's not something that I take lightly, and I know that it is. That's a good question. I'll try to answer that in just a little bit. But I certainly don't want to ever come across or ever get the idea that the church is immune. It's full of people, of course. if the church is full of people, it's going to screw up. If you're part of the church, you're going to screw up and you're going to fail people. Thomas, take care, buddy. So try not to be so critical of the church. My mom always said one thing. She used to say, people with problems and no solutions only have problems. So if you think about that, it's very profound, and I've used it over and over and over again. If you've got problems with people and you've got problems with the church, but you don't have a solution, then you're still part of the problem. People with problems and no solutions only have problems. And if people have problems with you, I understand there's times where we can't solve those problems with other people. I've got people in my life that I've tried to solve problems with, I've tried to solve issues with, and they don't want them solved. They want them to be problems. So, we go out, we continue to do that. And I understand. I live in a flawed, failing world with flawed, failing people, and I'm one of them. And the church is going to be full of them. It's not a museum. It's not a museum for the sinless. It's a hospital for the sick, for the sinner. That's the church. And I need it. I need the church. I don't know how, others can do it without it. I need the church. I'm not strong enough to do it on my own, not without the community. You think about the community we have right here. What a pleasure it is. You're absolutely right, Kyle. All of that is, you guys are really hitting it on the head. I don't pretend to have it all down. Joe says, this Jesus I like it is Christians I have a problem with. Absolutely. There was a preacher one time, and it ended up on a DC Talk album. And he said I'll try to get this right. He said the single greatest cause of atheism in the world today is Christians. Hold on. Who confess him with their mouth and deny him by their lifestyle. It's what an unbelieving world finds simply unbelievable. And that's who we're dealing with on a daily basis. I mean, if we were all like Roy and flawless, it would be a different story. If everybody was just that way, we would all be cool, so everything's all right. But unfortunately, we're not. We all can't scroll like a genius, like an artist angel with a hammer in our hand. But anyway, so understand that. And honestly, I encourage everybody, find a place that you can worship, man. Find a place where you can be a part of a community. And I know, yes, can you be a Christian and not go to church? Sort of. But part of our goal is to worship, and to worship others together, and to have others see us worship, and to train the next generation of worshipers, and to train the next generation of servants for God, and people who will pass on the message of Jesus Christ. So yeah, you can do it, but there's already been something established by Jesus, and it's the church, so we should be a part of it. So you're asking King James. I know what you're asking me. You're going to ask me whether I am King James or other as well. I use hundreds, and generally I'm down to about 5 translations that I use on a regular basis. And there's some that I use for study, some that I use to preach out of, and some that I just read. And I am conscious enough to know there's a difference between a translation and a paraphrase. I try to keep abreast of all the studies that are going on right now, and the more they learn about things like the Qumran scrolls and things like that. So I try to stay on the scholarly side of things with that and understand. Now, my dad and I used to have the back and forth. Consider this for a moment. We just talked about this in our Sunday school class that I was teaching at our church. Consider that 66 books of the Bible were written, the ones that are most consider canon. 66 books of the Bible, and the Old Testament was spoken in Hebrew and mostly written in Hebrew, Septuagint, all of those divisions for sure. So, yeah, same with me, Roy. So, Old Testament, written and spoken in Hebrew over a period of thousands of years. We can't assuredly know how many thousands of years for certain. The archaeology just doesn't give it out. And then along in the New Testament, we have the first part, especially in the Gospels, spoken in Aramaic, which is a derivative of Hebrew, spoken in Aramaic, written in Greek to a Greek-speaking world, Koine Greek, not today's Greek, Koine, common Greek, and so the Bible compiled together is Hebrew, spoken in Aramaic, and written in Greek in the New Testament, Aramaic and Greek in the New Testament, and distributed amongst a Greek-speaking world thanks to a guy by the name of Alexander the Great, who established a Greek culture across the known world. So when the church is dispersed, they go dispersed out to a Greek-speaking world that's already established. And so Greek is cool. Everybody write it down in Greek. Everybody will know it. So when it comes down to after Constantine establishes Christianity as the religion at the tip of a spear, you will be a Christian in Jesus' name, or you will die. But so he does that, and then all of a sudden we got to write the scriptures down in their current language, which is Latin, and that's again where you get the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate. Jerome is tasked with that. So now you have Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, now translated into one language, which is Latin, and then that's it. That's it for a long time, because the church only gets to have the books read by a priest in the Catholic Church, the church established and set as the national religion for 1,000 years. And then a guy, there was a couple of guys that come along, and during the Reformation, Luther and some others, who said, wait a minute, that everybody else needs to have the Bible too. And so you get the Gutenberg Bible, and then get it in German. So all the way down to you come to the translations that already been done. By the time you get to King James, who has the entire Bible again translated from Church Latin, which was hand scribed until Gutenberg came along. Every version of the Bible was hand scribed, and so anyway. So the Bible is translated into English, King James era English, from Latin, which was a translation of 3 other languages. And for some reason we think every jot and tittle is to the T. It's absolutely perfect. Is it inspired by God? Sure, there's no question about that. The Vulgate was Latin, yeah. But anyway, No, it wasn't canonized in English. It was canonized in Latin. So, and then in the 20th century, in the 1900s, we find Qumran, we find the scrolls, and we go back and we look at it and we go, okay, wait a minute. That isn't exactly. And so the Zondervan publishers begin the translation process, and the American Bible Society begins the translation process. And you get things like New American Standard, the New International Version, which are all continuing translations of what we know through the Greek and the Hebrew. So are they more accurate? Maybe. Likely, yeah. I mean, if you tried to go through different languages, crying out loud, I can go from here down to Louisiana and Alabama, and there are different words for stuff down there than there are up here. So over 400 years, yeah, words are different. So we really, it's a tough thing, and to say one version is the only version. It's being a little stuck because you have to understand the history of how we got to that version, and that's why I'm a fan. I hate to say it that way. Jeff, take care, brother. Thank you so much. I'm a fan of looking at multiple versions of the Bible, because if you look at the multiple translations of the Bible, you're going to see the ways in which the translation is very, very consistent, and then if something is not consistent, you got to find out why. And if all the words are very similar, very same, or very consistent, and all of a sudden there's one that pops out and it's different, you either got to question, okay, that's not right, or why is it that way? And so really, and I will say, if you do your history, you'll see that there were some issues with King James himself and why the translations were done the way they were done. And again, I'm not questioning the King James Bible. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, look at all of them. Use them in all their translations and look at them very carefully. And you're right, Bill. Don't get tunnel vision on a translation or a version. There are tons of them out there to get very comfortable with. Right now, I'm telling you, the one I use on a regular basis to read to people, like when I'm at the pulpit, I will read this very often because it's very easy to understand. And it is a translation. It's not a transliteration. It's not a paraphrase. It is a translation. And it's called the New Living Translation. And it's basically taking the NIV and very, very critically making a few changes that are not contrary to the NIV, but are complementary to the NIV. The New American Standard, as far as translations go, or Strong's Literal, is probably the best translation, but it's almost impossible to read because the syntax is off. Everything is off. It'd be like listening to Yoda read the Bible. It doesn't really make sense. It's the best translation, but it doesn't make sense. New American Standard is probably one of the more accurate translations, but again, a little bit more difficult to read. NIV is probably the easiest or best and altogether. But right now, man, New Living Translation, I absolutely love reading through New Living Translation. Guys, if you have smartphones, you've got hundreds of translations of the Bible right here, right at your fingertips. You download the Bible app and go to it and switch back and forth. I like doing it because it has a parallel thing where you can look at one version and look at another version at the same time or watch them as you're reading down through. It's just very, very cool. Yes and no, Bill, because they didn't have Qumran. They didn't have original texts with them. So historically, there are some difficulties to get it 100% original. But again, I'm not dogging on the King James. I'm just saying that historically, it's a challenge for them to get original text because of translations and changing languages and stuff like that. I don't see any discrepancies or inaccuracies in it. I just think it's just a different. Bible Gateway is another good one. So yeah, I mean, that's just all there is to it as far as I'm concerned. You're correct. He didn't actually do the translation. He did oversee it, some parts of it. The 40 scholars did it. You guys know your history. You guys definitely know your history, so that's good. And I encourage people, don't. I said that from the pulpit this week. Don't just trust me. Don't just blindly listen to what I have to say. Check it out for yourself. Used to have a saying in law enforcement, when I was in law enforcement: trust but verify. Go listen to your preacher, go listen to people when they talk, and then verify it. Go to the scripture itself. That was part of the challenge before people had the Bible in their own hands. Is the only way they had was to listen to somebody else talk about the scriptures. So you're right, Roy. Context is key. If anything you read, for sure. Absolutely. Yep, very much so. So we're kind of on the same page. I don't go hardcore down any of those lines. Read what's comfortable to you. Read what you have done your research on and you feel like it's the best version of that to read, and ask people, hey, is this okay? What do you think? Find somebody you trust. Godly counsel is an important thing for lots of reasons. Kingdom and context. Huh, there you go. So anyway, like I said, I tend not to be so hardcore about a lot of those things. I tend to just take things in their historical context, take things in their current context, and very, very good. I can't find the link for your church's live stream service. It'll be on Facebook, and it's the Martinsville Church of Christ. Martinsville Church of Christ. And again, if you guys need to know how to get in contact with us, I'm not just trying to promote our church, but if you need something to watch or listen to, and join in on the fellowship and study, get in contact with me. I'll redirect you. I'll send you where you need to check us out and check other people out. So convey the gospel, don't include extra biblical texts, right? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. There are some of the, we talk about apocryphal texts and things like that it's the white church with the paved parking lot, right, Kyle? But anyway, there are some other texts out there that do I know for sure should not have been, or were at one time quote unquote canon and should be included. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for all of that. I don't know. And the good thing I do know is that I wasn't there, so I have no idea. Yeah, they're good reads. There's no question about it. The apocryphal texts are good reads. And I have a really cool book. It's called From the Maccabees to the Mishnah, and it includes a whole bunch of intertestamental texts and different things that are really interesting reading, for sure. How do I feel about instruments? Yeah, we're Church of Christ, and we use instruments in worship. And I know there are those. There are two different groups, three groups in the what I call Christian Church, Church of Christ. No, everybody's cool. We're cool as long as we're open and loving. You can say I tell anybody, you can say anything you want to say with respect. If you say it with respect and love, we're cool. You can say anything you want to say. So anyway, I am not, but I've seen it. I'm not real familiar with it, Bobby, but I have seen it. But anyway, where were we at? Instruments, yes. There are three different groups in the Christian Church, Church of Christ movement, all the same. Not disciples of Christ, but Christian Church, Church of Christ. And there are those that use instruments within the worship. There are those that don't, but don't make it a test of fellowship. And then there are those that do, and will basically tell you if you use instruments in worship, you're going to hell. And then it's not worthy worship. We are, our particular group, we use instruments in worship. And yes, we follow restoration history principles based upon, where the scriptures speak, we speak. Where the scriptures are silent, we are silent. And the other side of that is we don't make it a test of fellowship with any other group in that, within that realm. And I do have a problem with people who do make it a test of fellowship, that, making it a condemnation as a result. But music is a beautiful thing, and it's created by God. And, musical instruments have been played for thousands upon thousands of years by godly people in worship. And in fact, if you read through the Psalms, many of the Psalms give direction for specific instruments to be played during worship. Now, I don't believe God would remove the use of those instruments because Jesus came. I just don't see that. Well, that's good news, Matt. That's good news. Yeah, that's a discussion for sure about the Book of Enoch. Roy says, I know one thing, and I'm personally cautious of its leading anything biblically speaking, a little more biblically illiterate than I would like. Okay. Yeah, it's, you know, I take what I do seriously. So I take it very, very seriously what I do. And again, I don't claim to have it all. I don't claim to know it all. Don't claim to have every bit of this down pat. Because if I did, I know I don't. That's a clear indicator. If somebody says they've got all the answers and they got it all down pat, it's a clear indicator that they don't. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the music question, but we do use the instruments in our worship, and I just don't. I've yet to find a compelling, I hate to use the word argument, to not. But I don't make it a test of fellowship. You know, I believe those that feel like they're not using. One of my favorite college professors was a non-instrumental Church of Christ person, and you're right, exactly right, Jesus loving pastor for sure. How are you guys? Good to see you, man. Down there in Texas. But yeah, I don't know that. You know, one of my favorite college professors was a non-instrumental Church of Christ guy, but he didn't make it a test of fellowship, and neither did I. There were multiple occasions where we would go together, and we didn't use instruments where we were at, and it was okay. I'm fine with that. You know, it's when we get into this test of fellowship with each other that it really causes problems. Yeah, you can, man. What I call proof texting. There was these guys in Bible college who had colored paper clips in their Bible, and when one of the professors would say something, they'd been trained to flip to these particular paper clips in their Bible and throw their hand in the air and then question everything the professor said based upon these. And they were just proof texts. There was these little snippets out of the scripture taken completely out of context or used to fit into their narrative, so to speak. And it was very frustrating with these guys. And I would get very upset, and my professor would have to tell me, hey, you need to relax, because I was getting very defensive about it. Ethel, you take care, man. God bless you. Thank you guys for hanging out. And again, we're now past, we're 8:41. So, you know, if you're welcome to stay in here and keep chatting, that's fine with me. But again, it's one of those things that, man, it's the reason why there are so many divisions. And I tell a story about denominationalism is a tough thing too, because consider for a moment, you know, the Church of England gets started for one reason and one reason only. They broke from the Catholic Church because King Henry VIII wanted another divorce. Pope wouldn't give it to him. So he started his own church. Well, the people in Scotland said, well, the people in England have a church. We want a church. So you get the Church of Scotland. And then all these other divisions. Well, out of the Church of Scotland is basically the Presbyterians where they're starting from. So listen to this for a second. So out of that, you could take Presbyterian, and then there were some people who said, you know what? I like the old way of doing things. And some folks said, there's some new things we'd like to do in the Presbyterian Church. So you have old light and new light. And then there were some other people who said, you know, we want to break from the Presbyterian Church, so we're going to secede. So there would be an old light seceder. And then there would be an old light anti-seceder. And then over here there would be a new light seceder and a new light anti-seceder. So already there was all these divisions. Before it's all over with, you had people who followed this guy by the name of Berger and people who didn't follow a guy named Berger. And so you could have an old light anti-seceder, anti-Berger seceder, the anti-Berger Presbyterian church. And what was it all about? Most of the people didn't know. They had no idea. I'm going to read some comments here. Yeah, read it in context. I'll tell you the other thing. On the Bible app, if you read the Bible app, there are videos, really cool videos on the Bible app that lay out the layout of every book in the Bible. And it's a really cool video, and he kind of draws it and shows it in its divisions and the purpose of each group. Really cool. Get you an idea as to why, you know, for example, if Paul is writing to the church in Corinth, he writes 2 letters to the church in Corinth. The reason why he writes 2 letters is because he wrote the first one and then they didn't get it, so he writes another one and they had some serious issues. So get the context as to why that particular passage was written and go from there. If you have an idea why it was written, oh, absolutely. You get more bar run forwards. Well, bless your heart. So yeah, I get the entire context of what you're reading. Yeah, Matt, I don't know what Matt you said there that got retracted. I'm not sure, but I can't do anything about it from here. So hopefully you can get that back up there. But anyway, and I've had some great conversations with some of you guys about this kind of stuff. But I'm of the opinion that you've got to have everything in context. You can proof text all kinds of things. You can go in and find a scripture that points somewhere else, you know, and I don't mean to get off on too much of a tangent, but and I hope I don't, you know, I don't do this with the intent to upset anybody. Has anybody ever heard of a guy by the name of Jack Van Impe? If you've heard of Jack Van Impe, please take my comments either as I don't know, just so Jack puts together this program, and I think they're out of that state up north, which may be the issue to begin with. But anyway. So yes, Jack and his lovely wife, Roxella, and they present their program as almost like a news program. And Roxella would get up and she would say this, you know, and they would have a picture of burning buildings and riots and things like that going on. And she would, almost as if it were a news story, anti-burger, the first name for vegetarian, that's good. Almost as if it were a news story. And then she would say, and she would present all this, and she'd go, Jack? And he would say, thanks, Roxella. And then Jack would always go to two books that lead to another book. He'd always go to Daniel or Ezekiel, and then he would always point it to Revelation, and he would always make the connection between Daniel and Ezekiel and Revelation and to what is happening right then and there in her story that she just told. And they never connected. You know, if you read through the book of Daniel, you'll know that there is, exegesis, man. That's such an important thing, is where people get into serious trouble. They didn't do their exegesis properly. So essentially, what he did was he would take, and if you read the book of Daniel, there's a huge bunch of history that we can go back in history books and things like that, and we can find out what happened in history. And Daniel will say, this thing is going to happen. And it happened to those people in that time in history. And if you go to the book of Revelation, that he's trying to make these connections to, the writer of Revelation, John, doesn't point back and say, Daniel wrote about this thing, and then you guys need to be prepared for that thing to happen as a result of what I'm saying about what, you see what I'm saying? It's very, yeah, his memory was incredible, except for he had an earpiece in telling him all this stuff. That's the unfortunate part. And I hate to debunk that, but beware of things like that, because that kind of stuff goes on in that realm. And he probably had a pretty good memory for Scripture, but that was always the place that he would go back to. And I struggle with that. And I don't mean to offend anybody. If you followed Jack's teachings or whatever, that's fine. I'm not criticizing you for that. I just what I'm saying is take things in their proper context, and therefore I'm going to read what Matt says. I'll tell you what, Matt's got it. You guys got there's some real biblical scholars in here, guys that really know their Scripture. Yeah. I mean, if you stand up in the pulpit, if you stand before people and declare the Word of God, you're going to be held accountable for what you say. Definitely. On the wall, there you go. And don't doubt the earpiece. Yeah, and it's true. And it was TV, so you know it is what it is. I'm not saying he didn't know anything about the Scripture. I'm just saying he was getting prompted, and he did have a script in front of him, but somebody wrote the script, whether it was him or somebody else. But again, the whole story, the whole idea comes back to knowing the Scripture in its entirety and as a whole. Does make a big difference as to where you approach your faith and your Christianity and your walk with God. Because, as I said, I'm inherently stupid, so I need Scripture, and I need people to work with and talk about what God's will is for our lives. His good, pleasing, perfect will. It's all those three things. So it's very, very important for that. Yeah, I agree, Bill. I'm right with you, man. Yeah, and it's, there are other people who. And as Matt and I talked, we have talked about this. There are guys that are up on television. Man, you got to watch it. You got to be very, very careful, and that's why I'm very, very. I don't want to say tentative, because I'm just very aware that if I'm putting this out, and this gets out on the internet, and somebody may watch this and say, "Oh, it was hate speech," or this was this, that, the other thing, and I'm aware of that, and I know that. People can take what I say out of context and snip it and clip it and do whatever you want to with it, but I'm free to that. I'm okay. It doesn't bother me. Where did I study? As far as Bible college or where I studied in ministry, it was Kentucky Christian University in Grayson, Kentucky. That's where I did graduate and bachelor's work. Was it Kentucky Christian? Now University. Yeah, so you just got to be aware. If you speak it, it'll be used against you or used for you. I don't know. I love the ones that try to sell you doomsday buckets in their sermons. Yeah, that's what I love about the doomsday guys and the end times guys, because when they say, "Oh, the world's going to end and God's coming back on this date," it's cool because I know it ain't going to happen on that date. Because if you think you got it figured out, it's good for me because I know you ain't got it right. Jesus said as he was leaving, even I don't know the day and the time. So it's all rolling forge and fire. Perry Stone, I may have to check him out. There are definitely guys. 2 of your sons went to KCU. I'll be doggone. That's really cool, Joe. I was back there in the first part of the 90s. And, yeah. So, yeah, it's really a challenging thing to think about. And the way media is right now, you're out there, and it's out there for good, man. You just won't stay down. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, for sure. Somebody get rid of that. If I've got a moderator on there, please thank you. Hey, I have a troll. That's good news, right, Roy? When you get trolls and bots. But anyway, that was kind of a longer tirade, but it wasn't really a tirade. Very cool. What church in Lexington? Tell me, if you don't mind. The world will hate us, and that's an indicator that we're doing what we're supposed to do. Look, if Satan's not after you, it means you're not doing anything. He's already won the battle. You don't have to worry about it. You not have to worry about it. You're done. If Satan's not working on you, it means you're not doing anything for the kingdom. So you better hope Satan's after you. There you go. You start talking about Jesus, the devil's going to come after it, try to mess it up. And that's a good thing, because it means we actually are his enemy at that point. They hated me first. That's what he said. Made it. I got a troll. So yeah, Tate's Creek. Yeah, great church. Great church. There's a couple guys that have been there over the years. What a cool thing to know. Yeah. Yeah, that's how you become the least likable blacksmith. Roy, I said you were not the least likable blacksmith. I was very public about saying that I could think of maybe one other blacksmith that's less likable than you are. One. Dude, you know I'm joking about that. So yeah, that's kind of my take on all that is, it's just be conscious, man. Be conscious of your scripture, and make sure that you're thinking for yourself, that you're reading for yourself, and lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your paths. And that's why I say with my story, it was one of those things where I acknowledged God, man. It was just one of those things where He's got it. This is not me, because if it's me, I'll screw it up. I trust me on that. If I were to try to do this on my own, I would screw it up even worse. Yeah. It's going to be like Highlander. There can only be one blacksmith. I just hope there's not decapitation involved. Oh, jeez. Here we go again. Do your thing, guys. I don't know how many moderators I do have, but hopefully there's enough up there to get rid of this idiot or the bot. Count it all joy. That's right. When you go through trials of many kinds, as Paul said. Absolutely. It's exactly what it is. They're trying to get you distracted. You know, it's really interesting. We do a lot of youth camps and things like that, and we get around the fire, and there's always kids staring at the fire, and it's a total distraction. Satan comes into those places and he wants to distract you. He wants to distract us right now from talking about it. So we just won't do it. We just won't be distracted. And I really don't care that it's, you know, pushing 9 o'clock, and I've got some friends that are on at 9 o'clock, but I want to catch up with them. But resist the devil and he will flee. That's the beautiful part about it. Is he will run away scared. That's what flee means. Think about that. Resist the devil and he will flee. It doesn't say run away or get away. Flee. Flee means to run away with fear. To turn and run the other direction in fear. And I'll tell you my take on that is this. If you guys remember watching The Lion King, right? And Simba and Nala go into the elephant graveyard where they're not supposed to be. Kind of like us, right? We get into places we shouldn't be and things we shouldn't do. And the hyenas chase them into a corner, and they're backed into a corner and they can't get out. And Simba finally turns around and says, okay, I got to face these dogs. I got to face these hyenas. And he rears back and he gives a like, that's the best he can come up with. And they were like giggling at him like, oh, isn't that cute? Do it again. Do it again. And he rears back and they giggled and laughed at him. And they giggle and laugh at him, do it again. And he rears back and like he's going to really let it fly. And when he opens up his mouth, there's this mighty roar that everybody hears. And the hyenas are like, wait a minute, what was that? We know that sound. And about that time, Mufasa comes jumping out and pounces them all. Just throws them, whacks them, and punches them in the mouth. And off they run, scampering away because they're afraid of the father. But they're also afraid of the son. They're also afraid when the father stands up with the one who stood with the father. In other words, when we trust in God, resist the devil, submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil and he will flee. Because that's the beginning of that passage in James. Submit yourselves then to God. That means give yourself over in complete trust. When we do that, we can stand in the elephant graveyard. We can stand in the worst places in the world. We can rear back and let it fly. And with the voice of God, standing with the Father, the bad will run away scared. Satan will run away scared because God's got our back. The Father has our back. What a cool message, right? Thank you so much for coming in, Jesus Loving Pastor. You guys are fantastic. Love you guys. Yeah, the hyenas were really cool characters in that movie. I really liked them. You said Mufasa. Ooh, say it again. Yeah. So anyway, that's my take on that, man. You guys are such an amazing blessing to me, and I love hanging out with you. Again, I want to express, we're not done. We don't have to be done. I want to express, if you guys have any anything you need to talk to me about, or any questions or whatever, please don't hesitate. You got my personal cell phone number, you have my address, you have my email address, you have numbers of ways to get a hold of me. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I can help as best I can, or direct you to those that can. And it's always an absolute blessing to be with y'all. Sorry we were running crazy this evening. We thought we had the stream set up in the basement to just hang out in the basement, but the computer wasn't working, so I scrambled out here and tried to set everything up. And fortunately it worked out. You guys are an absolute blessing to me and to Eli. Eli is in Kentucky right now with my daughter, who is graduating with her master's tomorrow, so I'll be running off early in the morning to go to that graduation. And praise the Lord for that, and just keep her in your prayers, because she's in an environment that does not promote Jesus Christ. And just continue to pray for her as well. Make mine a Cub sandwich. There you go. Oh, good line. Good line. Anybody else have any other questions or comments or anything you want to share with the group, or anything you have for me? Still haven't answered my question from a year ago. What was that? What was your question from a year ago, Matt? No, faith is not blind trust by any stretch. Yeah, and did you guys know, I understand this, when it says no, and Bill, you brought up the knowing, the word know in the New Testament and in the Old Testament, they bring that same word in. That word know has to do very similarly, and it's the same root word, same base, as the marriage bed, to have an intimate knowledge, an intimate relationship with them. So when God says, be still and know that I am God, it is a very, very close connotation to having an intimate relationship with Him. Not just having a brain knowledge, but to having an intimate head-to-toe knowledge of that person, to know them, not just to know of them. So it's not good enough just to know stuff. I mean, crying out loud, Satan knew the scriptures. He said that. Oh, the 12-year-old girl and the issue of blood. I ask all pastors, no one has an answer. You have to remind me of that one. Did you ask me that while you were here, Matt? We got to hear the music on the roof. We're in the basement. We wouldn't have. That's true. I had a question, but I forgot what it was. Exactly, Troy, he says. What was the actual question, Matt? I'm so sorry, buddy. And I got to keep looking at the camera because I'm looking up here at the chats. So I'm trying to figure that out. By the way, while you guys are thinking about that, thank you so much. We raised $1,150 of our goal of $1,200 to help Anson move his camper out to Arkansas. And I'm going to make that second part of that trip probably around Memorial Day weekend, or leading up to Memorial Day weekend. And we want to continue to leave that open. If you guys want to donate for that, anything that I take in, anything we take in above and beyond what it costs for me to go get the camper and then take it to Arkansas is going in their pockets, and they need it. It's not easy to make this happen, and we want to help this veteran family make that happen. Okay, Matt, text me again. I'm so sorry, buddy, and I will definitely, or call me, and I will definitely have the conversation with you on that. And I'm sorry I have not yet answered that for you. But yeah, if you guys want to go to the Streamlabs tips, or just go directly to our PayPal. It's okay. Call me or text me or whatever, buddy. But yeah, go to our PayPal. It's the barrunforge@gmail.com at PayPal. And if you want to donate to that, and that'll help us get that taken care of. I went to get fuel in my truck today. Again, $75 for 17 gallons. little over 17 gallons of fuel. And I was averaging about 6.5 or 7 miles to the gallon pulling the camper. So if you figure that up driving out to Arkansas, it's going to get expensive in a hurry. So anyway, no, I want to discuss it directly with you, and then if we need to, we can answer it over this on a Thursday night live stream or something like that. While I've got you guys, whoever's left, I don't know who's left, we've got some things that we're trying to plan for, and I apologize for not having a tool up this weekend. We literally weren't here. We didn't have an opportunity to even make a video. Eli started making a really cool hammer eye punch on the power hammer, kind of one of his first projects on the power hammer, and just literally there was no time to put one out. Roy, take care, buddy. Love you. But definitely get in touch with us. We want to know what kind of content. I know some of you guys said if you thought about doing a Bible study channel, a separate channel, like for the farm or for biblical studies or things like that, and we would. But you know, right now we just recently got monetized. I think we're just shy of 1,200 subscribers, and we want to continue to use this. You know, if we got to the point where we had 10 or 20 or 30,000 subs on here, where we could go ahead and start a separate channel, we might consider that. No, you didn't ruin it. We've already got it straightened out, buddy. It's good to go. In fact, I think it's right here. It's right there. We're back in order, man. But yeah, it's really, we want to know what kind of content you guys want from us. I'm wanting to do a series and you guys tell me, I want to do a series on farm tools. Like this past weekend at Goshen, we made a couple hay hooks. So farm tools, scythes, just things you would use around the farm, maybe even like a shovel, things like that. And so, that's one of the series that I want to do as far as some things to make this year. And I want to make a series of tools on the green woodworking tools. Like we started on the fro that didn't work out. Things. I have a FaceTime. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
My daughter Abigail, everybody. The soon to be graduate of her master's degree, Abigail Roush, right here in person. Have we got red cheeks already?
Huh?
I said, did we red your cheeks up a little bit by doing that?
A little bit, but it's mostly the brake bikes in front of me. All right, well, I won't interrupt you, but I wanted to say I'm officially unofficial. Got to move the tassel, and tomorrow I'll get the book. So.
Awesome. And I will see you tomorrow midday.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
I wanted to answer that just for you guys. So you guys, everybody saying hi to Abby. Anyway, however you guys want to smile, Abby, you're on the web. But, I don't know exactly where I was at with that, but, we were talking about things to do on the channel. I'm going to do a group of woodworking tools, draw knives, froes, maybe some carving axes, things like that, maybe a bowl adze. So I want to get into those kinds of things as well. Tools would be great, useful items for around the shop and homestead. That would be really cool. So there will probably be a series of videos, and that may be our Tuesday tool videos, or we may try to do some separate videos. A scythe. I think I've got that on my list of things I'd like to do. We've really been challenged. Yeah, I know. I've been trying to do the farm tool videos for a while. I gotta be honest with you guys. The last 3 or 4 months, to say they have been busy and hectic, have been an understatement. And really, since harvest of last year, we have been bombarded, and God has seen us through it, and we're getting through it. But it's been a definite challenge, and we want to continue to keep those things going for you guys. But You know, there are the days on Saturdays and Sundays, and we don't like to do the videos on Sundays, but you know, there are Monday nights where we're like, hey, we got to do a video. We've got a Tuesday tool video to put out, and we got to get it done and get it edited and put it out there. And we're trying to make a plan as to get ahead of it, so we already have next week's video done, and we're just not to that point yet. And things just keep coming up, and you know, I've got a full-time job and the farm and everything like that. So we're really trying to get to that point where we can, you know, we can do that, and we're doing our best. So I know some guys are, and folks, bye Lynette, you take care, honey. We love you. But I know as everybody's kind of leaving here, I wanted to again express my love and appreciation for all that you guys do for us. We're going to continue to try to do the things that we've been called to do. And if you guys need anything, I really mean it. I honestly do. Get a hold of us. Let us know, and we'll do our best to do that for you. If there's anything I can do for you, if there's anything you want out of the channel or anything you want from us, let us know. I'm going to do our very best. We want to continue to provide or start providing good content for everybody, content that nobody has to worry about here on the internet, and just to watch us learn and grow through the process, and in also the farm and the family and things like that. So I think I'm gonna call it. We're at 9 o'clock now, and I've got some friends I want to watch, who I want to support. Tim at Ridge Life, and everybody over at Bland's Promised Land Ranch, Monica and Eric. So go check them out. Give them some love. Tell them you came from Bar Run Forge. Go say hi to Tim at Ridge Life and Eric and Monica over at Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Bland's Promised Land Ranch. Go check them out. They're great people, and hopefully I'll get to catch up with them really soon. This has been a special thing. I really appreciate you guys being here, and if you have any questions or anything you want to, go back and watch the replay if you didn't catch it all. And if you come up with questions or something that is on your heart, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to help you out and love to talk to you in any way I can. God bless you guys, and we will see you on the next one. God bless.